welcome to my book journey. So today I have my part 2 of my bookshelf tour. So today I'm going to be talking about or showing you, giving you a little tour of my World War II books that I have in my smaller bookshelf. So, and I did my best to try to go fast, but you know what? It's kind of hard when you talk about books that you really enjoy, and World War II is my favorite. Historical fiction is my favorite genre, and World War II is one of my favorite times to read about. So I have quite a few books, and then some other hard copy books that are on the bottom of my shelf. And so I'm just gonna show you what I have, and then you can tell me in the comments if you have read any of these books, or if you know you might want to put on your TBR. All right, let's go. Okay, so today is going to be my second bookshelf tour, and this is going to be of the smaller bookshelf here. And this shelf or bookcase contains mostly my World War II books, and as you can tell, I have run out of space. I don't have space for those ones in the front. And then I also have my TBR little shelf here. And usually during the month, I put all the books that I could possibly read in the month for my TBR. So I've got this book actually already finished, and this is a holdover from last month. And then just some middle grade books that I may read this month for middle grade March. And then these two are ones that I'm reading this week, along with I do have some other ones that I'm going to be reading, but I'm listening to on audio, so I don't have them up here. And I would love to get to these middle grade books, especially this one right here. I've been wanting to read this one. I may get that one, read that one, but I don't know if of course, there's just so many to read, and so I don't know. Also up here, I have just this book. I have not got back into this book. It was a book that I was supposed to read last year, and it just hasn't, I haven't got back to it, and I need to. I just haven't had time. And you can see I'm like right here, and it's good. What I've read, it's a nonfiction book, but I've enjoyed it, but I just haven't had time to read it. And then this one, I mean, these are so cute, these little book sleeves. I won this on Instagram, and they're nice, but they hide your book. And so I have book 2 of the, let's see if I can get this out with one hand here. It's book 2 of the Well Ascension, the book 2 in like the Mistborn series that's in here. I started it, I've got that far in, and I haven't finished that one. And that one also is another good book. I've really enjoyed it, but then I didn't finish it the month that I was supposed to, and then new books got piled on. What do you all do about that? I mean, sometimes there's just books that you just don't have time at the end of the month, and then these books get ahead of it, and so it just stacks and stacks and stacks. So this is one that's been sitting here for a while, and I do need to finish it. I want to finish it because I really enjoy the story, and I need to get back into it before I forget what happened. Okay, so, and then I just have this little decoration that I got for my daughter there about Nanas that I love. Okay, so now let's go down and look at the actual World War II books that are on this shelf. Okay, so I'm going to look at these here that don't fit, and then I'll also go through and I'll let you know which ones I've actually read. And I'll tell you right now, I haven't read a lot of these books. This one is, and most of these, if not all of these, I've picked up secondhand at thrift stores, at library sales, and some Pango as well. I've gotten these. I think this one right here is one that I got new, but all the rest of them pretty much I've gotten secondhand. And that's because every time I go to a thrift store, every time I go to the library sale, if I see a book that it has to do with World War II, I just grab it and then put it on my shelf in hopes that someday it'll get read. Okay, so here's book number 1 here. It's Beneath the Scarlet Sky. And this is a chunker, but I have heard that this is really good. And I do enjoy World War II books that are not necessarily set in Germany or France or in Europe. This one evidently takes place, if I remember, is in Italy. Yeah, it takes place in Italy. And I have heard that this author is really good, and this book is really good. So there's that one. Okay, this one, The Traitor Beside Her by Mary Anna Evans. This one's a funny one because I think I talked about this on one of my other videos. My son was ordering something from Amazon, and he needed something like $3 or less to be added to his cart, and then he'd get free shipping. And so he said, do you want anything that's $3 or less? And so I looked really quick, and I found this book. And I, as soon as I saw that it was takes place in World War II, I decided to pick it up. So didn't know anything about it. It was only because of the price and where it was where the story was taking place. Okay, this one is called The Ways We Hide, and this one's by Christina McMorris, and she wrote the book that I read recently. Oh no, I haven't read it. It's Sold on Monday. This Sold on a Monday is not a World War II book. It has to do with the Depression era. I don't think I have it in this bookcase. I think it's in my other bookshelf. But this one has to do with World War II, and yeah, so the Second World War. So this one looks really good. Okay, this is a Christian fiction by Amy Lynn Green, The Things We Didn't Say, and I was planning on reading this in January for Epistolary January, but I didn't. I couldn't fit it into my read because it was pretty chunky, and I had other books to read, so I got pushed, and that's one of these I got pushed back. But this is a book about letters, and so yeah. And I have heard this one is really good. I love the cover. I love that red on there. Okay, and this one I did read. This one you can see I read. I got my little tabby still on there. The Guernsey Literary and Potato Pie Peel Society. I did read this one for Epistolary January because it is all letters, and I really enjoyed this one. This one was a good one. Okay, and I do have a couple books up here. They're little skinny ones. This one is about the Japanese internment camp's farewell to Manzanar. The Boy in the Striped Pajamas by John Boyne. I've heard this one's really good. I think this is either YA or middle grade, if I remember. And actually this book is one that we're going to be reading soon in our homeschool, because we're going to be doing a unit study that is based only on the Holocaust and what happened there. And so this would be a good book for us to read. Okay, oh, there's one more up here. This one I picked up, I think I got it at a little free library, maybe. I don't remember. But this is one book that I read when I was in school years ago. So this is an old one, by Bet Green, Summer of My German Soldier. And I loved this book. And I wonder now, if I were to reread it, if I would still enjoy it. So, and yeah, this was one of my favorites growing up and reading when I was in school. Okay. All right, so let's start seeing in here. So we have Lynn Austin. So in my last bookshelf video, I did have quite a few of Lynn Austin books in my Christian fiction section. But this is one that has to do during World War II, A Woman's Place. I have not read that. So again, I'll let you know which ones I've read so far. These are, I believe it's a duology, and these books are so beautiful. So I believe this one's the first one. The Butterfly and the Violin, and The Sparrow and the A Sparrow in Terrazin by Christy Cambron. And I have not read these yet. I would like to, but I haven't read them yet. Let's take this one out so I can put this one in here. Okay. Okay, this one, I've heard a lot about this one as well. Hotel on the Corner of Bitter and Sweet. And I've thought about reading this several times when prompts have come up with like sweet or things like that. And it's not a very long book, so I'm not sure why I haven't got around to reading that one. This one is one I picked up in a little free library for those who are lost. This one is called by Liz Tolsma, and I believe she's a Christian fiction author as well. Snow on the Tulips. Your World War II planes up there. Let's see. This one is Nazis in the Netherlands. This one is called The Librarian Spy by Madeline Martin, and she writes a lot of World War II books, and so this one is looks like a good read. This is another pretty famous World War II book, The Tattooist of Auschwitz by Heather Morris. Another library one, The Librarian of Burned Books by Brianna Labus. Oh gosh, these names. So this one looks really interesting. Looks like it's in Paris. Got a lot of books about that in Paris. This one's called The Girl from the Channel Islands, and this is based on a true story, and it's by Jenny LaCote. This is also based on a true story. This is A Brilliant Life, about a woman surviving the Holocaust by Rachel Unreich. Then we have Day After Night. This is the novel. The lady that wrote The Red Tent wrote this one. And I need to get this sticker off. You know, Whitney just posted a video about how to take stickers off, and I need to use that that for this one. I'm surprised I haven't taken it off yet. Usually I take them off right away, but I have that. Shout out to Whitney. Okay, this one is a book by Sarah Sundin, Christian fiction, When Twilight Breaks. And I don't know why I have not read this. I remember I was really excited when I picked it up. Are you like that when you... Here's another sticker I need to hit with Whitney's, the way she does that. Yeah, I have not read this one. Let's see here. I have quite a few Sarah Sundin, as you can see. I got them all right here in line, and I've only read that one. But this one is Until the Leaves Fall in Paris by Sarah Sundin. I love the cover. This one is book. I haven't read this one because, yeah, it's an excuse for myself for here. Because it's a book 2. I don't have book 1 of this book by Sarah Sundin. And it's The Wings of the Nightingale series. So, you know, I don't have book 1. That's why I haven't read that one. Now, this one is also a series. I've read the first book, and I really enjoyed it. It's the book is called A Distant Melody. And this is actually her first novel. I learned that after I picked it up, and this is the Wings of Glory series. And they are about 3 brothers. Is it brothers, I believe? Is it about the brothers? I think it's about the brothers, and each of them are in the service, and so each story is about them. But I have not read the next 2. I need to, but I just haven't gotten around to finishing. I'm really terrible about finishing series. This one's called The Last Telegraph, a novel of What Saves Us by Liz Trenau. And they have the paratroopers coming down. And let's see, where is this take place? British countryside. Okay. Then we have the Metal Heart by Caroline Lee, or Leah. Is it Lee? Leah? A novel of love and valor in World War II. Got some battleships out here. This one takes place in, it's between a romance. This is a romance between a Scottish woman and an Italian prisoner of war. That sounds interesting, and that's why it's in here, and I haven't read it. This will be good for me to go through all these books and to actually remember them. Sometimes we put them on our shelves and we just forget that they're even there. Okay, here's one called The Secret Letter by Debbie Ricks. Well, one about child. A lot of these have, you know, about these children that were, you know, caught up in the war. This looks like it's a dual timeline, 2018 and 1939. Then we have one with a similar cover with children, Those Who Save Us by Jenna Bloom. And this one is another one. This one is in Germany. Okay, so that is the top shelf of this bookcase. Okay, second shelf has quite a few books here. So we have a Ruta Sepetys, Between the Shades of Grey, and this one I have read. I really enjoyed this one. It is kind of like a duology with another one of her books, which is in here somewhere. And but this one was this was my second book by this author, and really enjoyed that one. Then we have this really pretty cover, The Forest of Vanishing Stars by Kristen Harmel. Again, you know, if there's ever a book, I do not have a problem with prompt. If I ever get a prompt that says, if there's any planes on the cover, I've got quite a few like that. So, and this is a hardcover here. It's really pretty. And then this one is a YA book, The Girl in the Blue Coat by Monica Hesse. And this one, I've heard when I talked about this in a library sale video, and several people commented they really enjoyed it. Okay, so here's the other Ruta Sepetys book that I read, Salt to the Sea, and it kind of goes with that one. And this one, I think I go back and forth of the two. I think I enjoyed this one more. I mean, I think I enjoyed them equally. I can't really say which one I liked more. I think they were both good. They were just different stories. Took place in World War II and different places, but they were both equally good. So let me take these out first. And this one is, this one I remember has to do with the time travel. In Another Time by Jillian Cantor. Wow, oh gosh. That one I need to read. I need to read that one. I love time travel books, and World War II and time travel together in a book, you can't go wrong with that. Okay, and then this one is The Fire by Night by Teresa Manzanillo, and this is about a World War II nurse and her story. All right, so here we have Resistance by Jennifer A. Nielsen. I did read this one. I enjoyed this one. This is a middle, I believe it's considered middle grade, I believe. And she writes a lot of historical fiction, middle grade books, and YA, I think. And this one was really good. It's about a young Jewish girl in the underground Jewish resistance and what she went through. Really, really good story. And then here's one, Beyond That, The Sea by Lauren Spence Ash. Again, we've got some planes. And let's see where she's at. She's at, let's see, England, I guess she's in England. Okay. I haven't read this one. All right, so now let's get into these. So we have a hardcover book here. This one I picked up. I thought my husband would like it. It's a nonfiction about the flags of our fathers. Then we have Sora Lane, Voyage of the Heart. This is a similar cover to, there's another book that reminds me of this one. It's a Lynn Austin book. I wonder if it's in here somewhere, if I have it or not, with women on the cover looking at. But anyway, it reminds me of that one. Then we have the Paris Seamstress. This is a nonfiction. I Want You to Know We're Still Here by Esther Saffron Foyer. This is a pretty famous nonfiction book. Unbroken, World War II story. I did see the movie years ago. This one is For Such a Time by Kate Breslin. I believe this is kind of like a story that's almost like a retelling maybe of Queen Esther, For Such a Time as This. I've heard that. So, and then we have Irina's War by James D. Shipman. Now I think this one is Christian fiction, but this one is not Christian fiction, secular historical fiction. Then we have While Paris Slept. And this one, if I remember right, had to do with this man finding the child, and that would happen. Amanda Dykes is an author I really enjoy, and when I picked up this book, I picked it up only because I recognized her name and I wanted to read more by her. And then it wasn't until later that I actually realized that this book has to do with World War II, and so that's why this book is here in this shelf rather than the Christian fiction shelf. But yeah, I'm surprised I have not read this. I think it's one of these books that I just forget that I have. Oh, and I don't know if I said the title, Whose Waves These Are. And I have read a few of her books and have really, really enjoyed them. This book I did read. This one is called All the Light We Cannot See by Anthony Doerr. And oh my goodness, this one was such a good read. It was really, of course, a lot of these World War II books, because of the with the time period and what is happening, of course, in war, so many heartbreaking stories. This definitely was one of those kind of reads. This is a book by Amy Harmon from Sand and Ash. I absolutely love this book. This one has to do with a woman in Italy, a Jewish Italian, and her trying to get to safety when the war breaks out. Really great book. This book is When We Were Young and Brave by Hazel Gaynor, and I've read one of her books. She wrote a book about the Titanic, which was really good. I really enjoyed that one. So when I saw this book with her, I picked it up. And I did actually start reading this book. I can't remember when it was. I think it was sometime last year, and then I just didn't have enough time to finish it. But this is about talking about in a different time, in a different setting during World War II. This is about a young girl whose parents are missionaries in China at the time, and then Japan is invading China where they're missionaries, and she's actually separated from her parents at the time because her parents are in China. I mean, they're all in China, but her parents are in a different town or city working as missionaries, and she's actually like in a boarding school with all the other Christian missionary children, and they're separated. And then when the Japanese come, what happens to these children in this at this school? So it's really, I mean, I don't know why I didn't finish it, you know. But I like I said, I didn't get very far into the story, but that's what it's about. Okay, I think this is the one I was thinking of. What is it, this one? No. Okay, this one is called Lilac Girls. It's huge because it's large print, and I love large print because it's so easy to read. But so that one is by Martha Hall Kelly, and I've seen this a lot. People talk about this one, and so there's that one. I've read this book by Susan Meisner. She's one of my favorite historical fiction authors. Secrets of a Charmed Life. Ugh, such a good book. Such a great book. You can't go wrong with Susan Meisner. I've read several of her books, and I have given all of them 5 stars pretty much. Georgia Hunter, We Were the Lucky Ones. I read this recently, well, last year as well, about a family, a Jewish family that were separated during the war. And this one is also based on a true story, and really enjoyed that one. This is one I read as last year as well, Children of the Stars, about these 2 little boys that were separated from their family, and the story is of them trying to reunite with their parents. I have not read this one. This one's called The Monuments Men, and I think this is based on a true story as well, and then of course they made a movie of it. And we have Deborah Carr, An Island at War. You know, a lot of these covers, you know, they look so similar. And this is about UK, Germany, another book in the Channel Islands. This book I read as well, The Book on the Wooden Box, the Boy on the Wooden Box. And oh my goodness, this was a tough read. This was hard to read, knowing that this actually happened to this young man. He was a Jewish boy during the Holocaust. Okay, and this one is not a World War II book. It's just here because it's a hardcover. The bottom shelf is all hardcover, so this one's up here. And I picked this book up because I just love the cover. It was just really pretty. And it's called Raising Hope by Katie Willard. Okay, so that is my second shelf, and we'll finish and go to the bottom one now. Okay, so here we are. At the bottom shelf, and these are not, I don't know, I'm trying to think, are these, well, there's a couple here that are World War II, but mostly this is where I keep my hardcover copies of books. I don't have a whole lot. I try to get mostly paperback when I'm out on the stores or in the thrift stores, because I don't have room for hard copies unless it's a book I really want. So I don't have a ton, but this is where I keep my hard copies. And so let's see. This one is called Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow by Gabriel Zevin. And this one is I'm scheduled to read this in December, I believe, for one of my Journey Through Time reading challenges. So that one will get read eventually. This one is a Christian fiction book by Charles Martin called The Last Exchange. And I've read a few of his books and really have enjoyed the ones I've read. This one I think I picked up in a little free library. Lucy Foley, The Paris Apartment. She writes suspense books, and I have not read any of her books, but like I said, it was such a good condition at the free little library that I had to get it. And take these off here. So I think that's all there. Okay, so these 3 right here are my books by let's see, I know it's Swindoll, but I can't remember the first name. Charles Swindoll. and they are the books about the different Bible characters. So we have a book that's about David. I have Esther, and then I have Joseph. And I've had these books for years. I've had these books. I've had these books for years, and I have not read them. But one of these is actually, I can't remember which one it is in my jar. If I pick it during the year. Okay, so then we have a Kristen Hanna book that I have, and I have heard recently from a good friend that she read this recently and really enjoyed it. So this is going to be one that I definitely want to try to get to read this year. This one's called The Great Alone, and some people don't like Kristen Hanna. I've read contemporaries, more like contemporary books about her. But I have enjoyed her historical fiction more than her regular contemporary books. I've read The Nightingale, which I absolutely loved, and then I read The Women, which was her newest book, and really enjoyed that one. But I have heard, like I said, my friend said she read this and she really enjoyed this one. Okay, and then we have, this one is by Marie Benedict, and this is The Personal Librarian, historical fiction. Then we have Jojo Moyes. This is a very popular book. It's called The Giver of Stars. It has to do with women, librarian pack. They had the pack horses during that time period. This one, I don't even remember what this is about. This one's called The Lost Vintage. I think I picked it up just because I love the cover, by Anne Ma. And then we have, I thought this was interesting because it was also by this author, Marie Benedict. Maybe I should put them together because they're the same author. But it's called The Mystery of Mrs. Christie. It has to do with Agatha Christie. And I picked that up because of that. Pretty cover. It's got the florals on it. Okay, and then we have, this one. Well, this is a classic. Oh, I still have my sticker on it. That's how much I paid for it. This is Jane Austen, Mansfield Park. And I was just watching somebody's video that were talking about this one, and they said Mansfield Park was their favorite. I can't remember who it was that said it, but when I found it, I thought it was a pretty good, it's a Barnes & Noble classic and in really good condition, so I picked it up in hopes that maybe someday I will get around to reading it. Now this one, you won't believe, this is a chunker, for sure, in such great condition, and I only paid 50 cents for this. I paid 50 cents for it, and it's in, like I said, it's really a really good condition, and I do want to read this one of these days. It has to do, oh my goodness, is it Magicians or something like that? I know Chantel reads all day. I know she's read it, and let me know if you've read it, if you've watching this and this is a book that you've read. Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell. I always want to say Dr. Strange. Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell by Susanna Clark. And like I said, it's going to take some time for me to finish that one for sure. But I couldn't pass it up when I saw it, for 50 cents. Okay, here's one called The Girl Who Fell from the Sky by Heidi Durrow. I thought this was a great find too. This one is called Hillbilly Elegy, and it's a memoir, and it's by J.D. Vance, who is our vice president. And they made a, this is an older book. It's been out for quite a while because they made a Netflix movie based on this memoir, and it has his story of when growing up and in his town, his small town, and his mother, what it sounds like she was addicted to some kind of drugs, and he was raised by his grandmother. Yeah, it says a memoir of a family and culture in crisis. So it's just an amazing story. And then, of course, he grew up and went off, served in the Marines, and then went to college to become an attorney, and now he's vice president of the United States. So I definitely want to try to read his memoir. Here's another one, another chunker, and this is by Armor Tolls, and he's the one that wrote he's the one that wrote A Gentleman in Moscow. And the ladies at my library sale, the librarians, well, not the librarians, the volunteers that run the Friends of the Library, she read both The Gentleman in Moscow and this one, and she was telling me how, wonderful this book is. And so, it was only $1. So I grabbed it, and one of these days it will get read. Hopefully. I'd really like to read it. She said it was about two brothers, I believe, that were traveling, and it's their story as they're traveling to wherever they're going. Here's another book that is on my... Here is another book that is on my journey through time, and I can't remember now what month I'm going to read this, but this is called The Book Thief by Marcus Zusak, and this is a middle grade book or YA book that deals with this one is set during World War II. And so I've heard so many great, wonderful things. A lot of people put this on their top 10 books, World War II books, historical fiction books. So I'm hoping I will enjoy it just as much. Okay, then we have this book. And again, this is another Jennifer A. Nielsen. She was the one that wrote this one, The Resistance. So I have another one by her. This one has to do with when the Berlin Wall went up and families that are separated. So this one sounds like a really great story as well. Okay, then we have Sarah's Key. Oh, and I picked this up a long time ago, and I didn't know anything about it. I read the inside cover, and it talked about this family fleeing Paris during, of course, when the war broke out. And I believe in the story, if I remember it right, they leave, either they were hiding in the cabinet, or they, as a game, or yeah, she locked her little brother in his favorite hiding place, and then I guess she had the key, and then they get separated, and wondering what happened to the little boy, if he ever made it out of the hiding place. So that one, it sounds like a tearjerker. So maybe, I don't know, maybe that's why I haven't got around to reading it yet. I'm not prepared. Okay, so this is the last one on the shelf, and this one is another one that I picked up a long time ago. It's called The Story Teller, and I just had, this one is by Jodi Picoult, and she has written a ton of books, right? But this one I have heard is supposed to be one of her best, because this is about a woman who is interviewing a former Nazi living in, I believe, is he living in the United States? I can't remember. And he's telling his story of what he did, and which I can imagine is going to be pretty crazy. And maybe he wants, he's repenting of it or confessing it, and she's the one is writing down his story. So yeah, that one is another one like The Book Thief that a lot of people will say is like their top 10 World War II story. Okay, so that is it. Those are all the books that I have on my shelves that are historical fiction, World War II books that I picked up over the last couple years. there were some that I have read and a lot that you saw that I have not got around to reading yet. But hopefully this year, I'll get, try to read some more of those books. And so I just want to thank you for joining me in part 2. And so in the next few weeks, I will be doing my other shelves that I have. I have another tall one that I'm thinking about breaking up in actually 2 videos because there's so many books on that shelf. I have it kind of, over, I probably have more books than I should have on that shelf. So, and that's my secular books that I have in all different genres, from historical fiction to fantasy to mysteries and contemporary, just all kinds. And so I will probably do that in 2 videos. I think I should do that one in 2, or else it'll just be way too long. And then I'll do a video with my other shelves that I have, nonfiction and some children's books. Okay, but if you haven't had a chance, I did do a part 1, and that was my Christian fiction bookshelf. And so I'll link that below if you want to check that out. All right, thank you so much for joining me today. And again, let me know in the comments below if you have read any of the books that I talked about today and if you enjoyed them. And if there's like a book that you think I should read, should bump up a little bit, let me know as well. All right, you all have a blessed day. Bye-bye.